Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Gum Products Safe Sex Talk. Now, today is a special episode. I will be interviewing two individuals that grew up in an era before the internet, before social media. And I just wanted to give my listeners a generational perspective of safe sex, because safe sex looks way different to each generation. Okay, social media and the internet changed the way we interact forever, but I think it is important to remember what life was like before the internet. That way, moving forward, we have just a different perspective of what was, to see how we can improve ourselves going forward. Now, these two individuals were willing to share their personal information with us regarding safe sex. Normally, people in older generations are very reserved with what they have to say. So please watch this and know that they care. And hopefully, you learned something from this episode, just like I did. I definitely learned a few things interviewing these two individuals. So yeah, hopefully you can like and subscribe so that we can get more of this type of content. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview. State your first name and the year you were born.
First name Ivan. Year I was born 1946.
1946. How old does that make you, sir?
Uh, 79. I'm in my 80th year now.
And I'm 91, but in next 2.5 months I'll be 92.
92. And you, what you say the year was again? Say the year for us.
1934.
Do you know how old you were when you first had sex?
Since I was about 13, 14 or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. So, how old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was like I was like 19, 20.
How old were you when you first heard of a condom?
Uh, that has to be sometime in the 50s.
So after you had sex, you didn't hear of a condom before you had sex.
That's before I had sex. This is when I
Okay.
was in primary school.
Okay. And
Some of the older guys, I saw one of them with a condom,
okay.
and I want to know what was he doing with a balloon. So he told me what it was.
Okay, primary school. Don't laugh at my question.
No, I won't.
Was condoms a thing?
Who know about condoms? That was condoms until I come here
Okay.
in this North America that I heard about condoms.
Okay, so you didn't know what a
No, you
condom
didn't
was.
know. You didn't know about that. We didn't know nothing about that, especially
Okay.
in the country where we come from. We didn't know about that.
Did you get to choose the first person you had sex with?
I did, but after a lot of fight with my parents. Because if
Okay.
my parents see me talking to anybody like the opposite sex, they would want to beat me.
What was considered scandalous or wild when you were a teenager?
Just having sex. You weren't supposed to. So,
So was sex education taught in schools?
no, not at all. Not at all. It was not discussed at all. Not with the adults.
Okay. So you had to hear about sex from someone else, from another student.
A cousin of mine.
Did your parents talk to you about sex?
Oh, no, no. At that time, nobody spoke to us. No adult spoke to us about sex.
Nobody spoke to you guys about sex, about reproduction, none of that.
Nobody did.
So the first time you had sex, did you know that that led to a baby?
No,
Okay.
no.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And what was your parents' occupation?
Father was a pharmacist, and my mom a nurse.
Your father was a pharmacist and your mother was a nurse.
Yep.
And then sex was just not talked about.
Sex was not talked about in any profession. They don't talk to kids about sex at that
Okay.
time.
Okay. Did your parents talk to you about sex?
No,
Okay.
you couldn't even say that.
Okay.
You
Okay.
must have heard that. You couldn't say sex. You,
Okay, so they didn't talk to you about it.
nothing, nothing. When I get my periods, my mother said she gonna beat me.
How old were you when you got pregnant?
When I got pregnant, when I was like 21, 21, yeah.
Okay, were they mad?
Well, every parents would be mad.
Okay. Okay, so when you got pregnant, you were having a baby. That's
Yeah.
okay. So was abortion a thing, or they didn't do that?
They did abortion then, but it wasn't legal. I know a couple of people died from it.
From
Yeah,
the abortion?
yeah, having an abortion because
Okay.
it was cruel.
Yeah. Would you do you know how the process works?
I I don't I don't know how. I have no idea how the process works, but I know regular people used to do it.
Okay.
They put wire up in them and punch the sack and it. I mean, it was a cruel thing. But then
Jeez.
if you want an abortion, then you had to pay a doctor a lot of money, just like now. But then if you don't have the money, that's what they did.
So what about STDs? Was that a thing in
Who
Guyana?
knows about that? When STDs is something I learned when I came here.
Okay. What? How old were you when you came here?
When I came here, I was I spent 3 months there, like 22, 23,
Where'd you grow up?
northwest of Guyana.
Guyana.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So you grew up in Northwest and okay.
Man, that's country. That's
Okay.
not the tongue. That's country where you live, like how people live here in the country and got country style and country life. That's
Okay.
how I grew up. On a
Mhm.
farm, my father had a
Okay.
farm, so we know everything about farming and planting and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. And so you had never heard of an STD before.
No, I know people getting with STDs, we call it now, but what they call it? Like people working in the interior would come to Georgetown sick, and then they find out they got syphilis. That's what they
Okay.
call it. You must hear the word.
Mhm.
They got syphilis, but when they come down to the hospital and you check them, they're far gone. People, people whole area, that whole area that's be eaten out
Jesus.
badly. But you see, they didn't check it. It they didn't diagnose it until it was bad and it can't come back.
Mm.
It can't come back. But
Hmm.
now, if you got syphilis, you can take a blood test and find out. That wasn't in my day.
Okay. So you were a nurse at a very young age. So you
Hmm.
saw people come in the hospital
Oh
with
God, you wouldn't
syphilis.
want to watch it.
Okay. Have you ever had to like look down there and not diagnose, but like tell the doctor, yeah, I think it's something down
No,
there?
you don't have to tell the doctor. The doctor tell you.
Okay.
They see they write the diagnosis on the chart, and you read it, and you see everything. But you see women with the whole vaginal area like raw and
Yeah.
oh awful. Men too.
Okay. And they didn't have any cures for it in Guyana back then.
They came to the hospital, but a couple of them didn't survive it. Is a thing can kill you, you know.
Jeez. Okay. You remember when you got your period?
Yes, I remember that. That's when she said she can beat me.
Okay. And then okay. Did you guys have like pads back? then?
No, pads.
So how
No,
did
they
you?
get some. They get some. She gets some like pieces of flannel cloth that absorbs a lot, and then they make you use that and then wash it.
Oh, wash it yourself?
Yeah.
So did she explain that to you? Did she?
But she may tell you you gotta wash it. She didn't washing it.
Okay, so she didn't explain to you you're having your period because you're turning a woman.
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. And
Okay,
then when after I got my periods, I used to steal books and look and read.
and what about birth control? When's the first time you heard about birth control?
When I came here,
Okay, that wasn't a thing in Guyana.
it was a thing in Guyana, but primitive.
Okay,
If you want birth control, you got to go to a bush lady or or oh, they had birth control.
you said
They
a bush
had
lady. What's the bush lady? Bush lady like that mixes it was herbs.
herbs person. You
Okay,
had to go to the person with herbs, and they can, especially the Amerindians. And if you want to have an abortion too, the Amerindians would do it for you.
what normally happened when you got someone pregnant before marriage?
You had to get married in those days. Once your parents knew you were having sex, or once they knew that somebody was pregnant for you, they forced you to get married.
Was abortion heard of when you were a teenager?
It was, but it
Okay,
was something that I guess the girls went somewhere. I don't know what they used, but it wasn't a medical, it was just some backyard sort of.
got you. Some backyard things.
Uh,
Was STDs around when you were a child? I guess.
uh, I knew about STDs in what? Probably the same time, 17, 18.
Okay, so there was people in your community that had them. Did you know of?
Yes. And then
Okay, so how did you know that those people had them? Just word of mouth.
word of mouth. And I think I can remember my father telling me about somebody who, some of his friends' son, who got an STD.
Okay.
And
Okay, so they did talk to you a little bit.
yeah, but that's really late in life. I consider that late.
Got you. Okay. So when you were a teenager, right? There
Mhm.
was people. There was people having sex, right?
Everybody have sex.
Okay.
Sex was a dirty thing, a nasty thing, a thing not even to talk about. It wasn't like now.
That's
You got your children growing up and you see them talking to a little boy, they try out.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, young people having sex. You gotta watch them and you gotta prepare them. We weren't prepared.
I
We
get that.
weren't prepared, or some people would say, if you wanna have sex, use a condom and we had that kind of thing.
That was a great interview. So now let's dissect it a little bit. Let's see what we can take away from that interview. So the first thing I want to point out is that STDs was not as common as it is today. Um, so that means that we have to be way more cautious than they were than the previous generations. Um, two, sex education was damn near non-existent back then. Nobody taught them the things that we are giving you, the gems, the knowledge that we are giving the youth today. Nobody taught them. So Now it's just our duty to know that they weren't taught, and all the things that you would want to be taught as a child. Um, we're going to touch on those things. They did say that, birth control was primitive. That's one thing that the the lady said, was that birth control was primitive, right? Meaning that it was new. It wasn't common. Birth control is very common now, which I'm going to have a whole show on that, not today, but uh, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of birth control later on. But at least we have the option to get birth control. Let's see here. Something that we didn't talk about that I want to talk about right now is the cost of having a baby. Back then, you know, um, most people were farming most of their food and hunting and things of that nature. Like, there was markets, but it was way less expensive than we have it today, especially in the United States. So having a baby is not just as simple as it was back then. It's not. You got to feed that child, and then let's not talk about having multiple babies. I know you meaning the listeners. I know you guys have heard of people, maybe your grandma, your great grandma, your great great grandma having 12, 13 kids. Um, yes, I mean, one, there was no birth control. Secondly, you know, you, you have sex, you get pregnant, you have a kid back then. And most people could feed their kids. You just gotta cook a little more or divvy up the portions a little better. These days, 13 kids is damn near impossible to have 13 kids in this economy unless you are literally Elon Musk. If you ain't Elon Musk or Nick Cannon, 13 kids is damn near impossible. Okay? For so many reasons. Healthcare is expensive, clothing is expensive, food is expensive. It's damn near impossible to have over a certain amount of kids in 2026. Okay. Now, I did notice that the gentleman said that most of the time when you get pregnant, or when you got pregnant back in the day, you were kind of forced but encouraged. We'll say encouraged. You were encouraged to get married. Oh, you having sex? Oh, you trying to have a baby? You trying to be grown? Y'all need to get married. And that's what it was back in the day. So, question. What if you had to marry the first person that you got pregnant by? Let's marinate on that. What if you had to marry the first person you got pregnant by? I bet you would choose more wisely. I bet you would choose a mate more wisely if you had to get married. The first person you got pregnant by, I bet you would choose more wisely. We have to stop taking our sexual partners so lightly. It's not just a good time. It could be the rest of your life. Um, so yeah, we definitely have to start choosing our mates more wisely. Okay. Um, and just start being more precautious. It's 2026. It's way more STDs out there. Okay. The the lady said that she was a nurse, and the only thing that she really saw was syphilis. Child, I can name 1,000 more STDs right now. AIDS, herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, all those things. We have a lot more risk now of having sex than they did back in the day. It's and I'm pretty sure that they didn't have a lot of options of who they could have sex with back in the day. You know, like they said, sex was um not as open as it is today. So that being said, you know, back then in 1940, okay, 1940 some, having sex was when you had sex back then, I'm pretty sure the person you were having sex with didn't have a lot of partners. A lot of partners back then was probably three. Okay. Um, you probably had to, who knows what you had to do to get to them, what you had to do to get to the person that you trying to have sex with. Probably had to do it in a bush or something. Who knows? Um, but now it's just so accessible. You could DM somebody today and be in their drawers by the nighttime. So we just have to be a little bit more cautious about what we're doing, and we have to talk about it. We have to let these young people know, and not just young people, because there's definitely people in their 30s and 40s that need to practice safe sex too. You can still get AIDS and herpes and stuff in your 30s and 40s. So we have to be a lot more cautious when having sex. And then when we have sex, we have to do it the safe way. So yeah, this was a great interview. Okay. Please like and subscribe for more content, more safe sex content. Please send this to someone who needs to hear about safe sex. Send this to someone that needs a little reminder to have safer sex. Your nephew, your cousin, your sister, your baby brother, your children, your teenage children. Okay, so yes, thank you for listening, and we'll be back with the next episode next week.